Hi everybody, welcome back to sprueVerse, my scale model universe. And this is, I suppose you could call it part 2 of Build the ORCA. This is a challenge build between myself and Wayne over at World of Wayne. If you don't know Wayne, please go check him out. And here we go. I'm assuming most of you know what's going on at this point, but if you've just arrived at this video, please go back and check out the first video, because we sort of go through all of the various different parts and strategies that we may or may not use to actually build this incredible kit. Again, a model that I found at last year's Wonderfest, and Bill Wieger is the designer and creator of this all resin kit, and we are diving in. Now Wayne's sort of ahead of me in some ways. I actually don't really know what his complete strategy is. We talk a little bit about what we're doing, and we're sharing sort of knowledge, and we're sharing as much of the design function as we possibly can, that's going incredibly well, and we talk often, so we really are trying to help each other, and that's important because both kits are going to be awesome, but he's going to have his approach and I'm going to have mine, and we're gonna talk about some of those subtle differences in as they're revealed. Some might not be revealed, I don't know, but for this particular episode, I wanted to sort of let you know what I decided to do, which was dive into the mast, because at the end of the day, the mast has to be constructed and detailed out and finished to the extent that it can before it can actually be installed. I'm not using the mast that came with this kit. Here that is, and let me show you on the overhead. I got it relatively straight by putting it in hot water. It was 2 pieces that came together, but at the end of the day, it was just way too flimsy. And after emailing Bill Wieger and saying, "Did you use this mast?" he actually did not. And so I decided to go ahead and fashion my own mask as well. So that's what we're doing, and I'll show you that in just a second here. Let me put that down. You can see the bench is sort of a cacophony of insanity, and that's because I've been painting and detailing and doing all kinds of futsy things. As some of you may or may not know, I found on eBay this ridiculous set here of stuff. Check this out. How insane is this? I've got five caches of this, and it's just basically shipbuilding stuff. Now, most of it, you know, I can't use, but a lot of the pieces I certainly can use and will use. So, you know, that's an awful lot of fun to sort of have these things. We've got all kinds of rigging ropes now, and there's some amazing things that I do want to share with you. Let me just put this behind me and say once again how much fun this actually is to do. I mean, it's a delight. It's so much fun. I can't tell you, because when you get to sort of play in a world that is so perfect for me, aging things, rusting things, making things look broken or shimmy together, and Quint's boat was that. 30 years of probably not ever really getting any of its wooden parts, its teak, you know, cleaned and sanded and varnished. And if you look at all the details on this boat, and there are tons of frame grabs that we've done, you notice that there is just an absolute There's an absolute cacophony of things that you just don't see. So I'm sort of thrilled about that. Forgive me as I get a text from my wife. But anyway, as I've said, you know, so it's sort of just focusing on the mast and making sure that I get that done, and so that's what I've been doing. And it's full of parts, you know, lots of details. But anyway, let me bring it over and show you what I've done so far. Here we go on the overhead. Then I'll move you around a little bit. So I've decided to go with this green from Tamiya. It's a gray green, and I can actually let me tell you what that is. I've sort of assembled all of my paints behind me, but it's gray green. It's XF. Here, we'll put it on the. Here it is. That's the grain I'm using. And so I'm pretty happy with that. I have completed the ladder. Here it is. Let me show you that in all of its glory. It's been wrapped with the rope as the original was. I've fashioned mine out of metal, and I've put these two little plunger marks on the end. So that when it sits down on the deck, it looks like those little stanchions are actually going to be plugged in. So I'm pretty happy with that, and so that's out of the way. And I tested it, and it fits beautifully. And then I decided to dive into this bloody mast because wow, it's so much fun, but it's awful lot of detail. So I started at the bottom here. And what I used was I used a little piece of wood that I actually fashioned on my lathe, drilled a hole through it, and then I glued that just about, I would say, 5 mil off the. Let me get my measuring to tell you. If I can find my here it is. So, see here. Yeah, it's exactly 5 mil. So I did that, and then I have used this tape here, which you can get from a Home Depot or anything. It's metal tape. It's ducting tape from 3M, but I get the one that doesn't have any printing on it, obviously, so I can actually work with it. And let me tell you, this stuff is a godsend, because what I've been able to do is actually just with 2 pieces, I've actually been able to fashion that around the bottom here and then stain it. And so that is now the bottom of the mast. And all I have to do now is just get some little rivets to put around, which I will do at the very end. Now the kit comes with this piece, the winch, and I've already added this detail to it here, which is actually from a fishing lure, and that's the best I could do in terms of getting something in scale that looked like you could actually tie it off to something. So I'm ready to rig, and I'll do all of the rigging at the end, but as you can see, I've also fashioned out of brass this stanchion that holds it in place, and I also fashioned out of a piece of brass sheeting the piece that goes under it, and I've drilled a couple of holes into it. And then as you go up the mast, this next piece here is using brass tape. Here it is. This is the brass tape that I'm using. And then I wrapped that 3 times, as you can see. I've wrapped that 3 times, and now that is ready to take the next piece that will drop into here. Do you see? This is a resin piece, guys. Now I have already, a full disclosure, I've already snapped it and glued it back together again. So I'm really concerned about how weak that is, but it doesn't really have to hold a lot of weight. but I have put 2 rigging holes at the end of it here, which will ultimately hold a block and tackle piece, which will be made out of these 2 here. I've got 2 of these, and they'll have about 25 mil of rigging rope between them. There's 2 of them here. I'll bring the other one in with my fat fingers so you can see those together, like that. And so I'm going to put rope between those, and that will sit quite nicely into this piece that I'm working on now. So let me show you this, because I can actually pull over my I'll pull over my iPad here so you can see this. I'll show you in the frame here so that we can see it. So I'm working on this block and tackle here, and this piece will connect to the triangle, and I'll show you that. Let me put this back. And that triangle, did not. Now I don't know if I haven't actually asked. I haven't actually asked Wayne if he got a triangle in his resin kit. I don't recall putting one in his kit for him. He may have, but I had to build mine completely out of from scratch. So here that is. You can see that. Let me get it on the close-up camera here, and there you go. That's better. So I've fashioned this, and this is now going to clamp to this piece right here, and then the foot. I've got 10 pegs that will go all the way up the sides here, foot pegs that go all the way up to this piece right here, which is your I'm calling it a foot stand, but if you recall. And then above that are these rings that are you sort of climb into, almost like a crow's nest feature. And let me show you those close up here. Here those are. Now I use the ones that came with the kit. I got an STL file from Wayne, and here's the STL file, but the piece in the middle did not fit my mast, so I had to snap that off. And I thought to myself, at the end of the day, what am I doing? I might as well just use the pieces that came with the kit. But what I did is I got a piece of pipe, brass pipe that I've cut, and I've made that the width of my mast, and that will slide down that'll slide down the mast like that. I don't want to do it right now because I don't want to start snapping things. And trust me when I tell you guys, the delicate nature of all of this now is insane. It's absolutely insane. So, and I have I'm clumsy. So a wick or a knock or something, you know, your heart is broken. So I have to be very careful. But anyway, all the elements are complete now, and then the final piece is this, which I think is a burnt out light of some kind. Here, let me show you this on B-cam, because I think it's here it is. There. Now, curiously enough, when I got my kit, this piece was on an angle. It was on an angle, but in all the shots that I've been checking, all the frame grabs, it's straight. So I don't know whether that was because when he fashioned it, Roy Scheider's character was Brody. Was on the mast when it was in the water, and curiously, when you see it in that shot, it actually is on an angle. So I don't know if he goes, oh, that's on an angle and made it on an angle, or whether it was a mistake. I don't know. But either way, you know, God bless all of us. I don't think it matters whether it is or it isn't, but I've got mine going straight down. Now, what I did here was I went back to my good old-fashioned metal effects iodizing iron paint, and so I love that stuff. I just love it more than life, and it does such a great job. So I'm really sort of super happy with that. And so that's ready to go on. Now I will say, once the mast is sort of complete and I'll go through it, I can do some little touch-ups and some staining and a little more dripping and stuff like that. I won't do any of that until it's actually in place, because then I can really get up close to it and have a lot of fun with it. But I'm doing the best I can to get all the elements together. And the final piece of this is it's a little cap for the top of the mast, and of course it's on this bench somewhere, and I can't find it right now, which is like freaking typical for me. I mean, it's just like, so, you know, it's such a reason to have a good clean bench. But anyway, trust me, it's here, and it has 4 little loops in it, and I wish I could find it. How frustrating. Give me 1 second here. Let's see if I can see it. Come on. That is not a good thing. Anyway, it's fashioned out of a little piece of aluminum pipe here, like this, and it'll have 4 loops on it, and that sits at the very top of the mast like that, for the final piece of rigging. And then the pièce de la resistance. Oh, it's over here. I'm painting it. What a putz. What a putz. I apologize. Here it is. There it is. And so this, which is actually sort of dry now. And again, it's just, you know, it's all temporary staining, you know, just rough staining. There, I'll leave that alone. Rough, and then because I'll do all the final in situ here, but that's going to sit at the top of this mast like that. Here, you can see it sits at the top, and so all my rigging, I have a place for all my rigging to go now, and so that's just going to be perfect. And I must say that it's been a lot of fun trying to put all these pieces together. It's been a labor of love, but it's fun. Now, the final, which I wanted to show you. Now, I haven't painted this yet, but I am just absolutely chuffed with this. Look at this. Here's the wind vane for the very top of the mast. The last piece, and I'm really happy with that. That was fashioned out of a piece of relatively hard wire, and then I wrapped some soft wire around that, and then I took some of my good old metal tape. I cut it. You can fashion this stuff. That's why I love it so much, because you can fashion it into all kinds of little things. And so there it is. And it can be, you know, it can be manipulated a little bit, but I have to say it's pretty darn perfect. Now it will be black. And now curiously, I'm going to put that back over there so it's safe. Interestingly enough, a great side story, because some of you may or may not know that I worked for Steven Spielberg for almost 6 years. I was his head of television programming from 90 to 96. But one of the things that has, you know, is common knowledge is that the ORCA was pretty much destroyed thanks to the Universal tour, and after films are made, you know, most things are trashed. They're not held for posterity. A few guys are smart enough to do it. You know, James Cameron was always very smart about hanging on to his models. And they've survived. And of course, Lucas, a classic example. Stephen, not so much, but certainly the ORCA is something that he, over time, for obvious reasons, wanted, but it was alas gone. So the only two elements that you'll ever find that he actually has is, one is the weather vane, which he actually has, and that's at his offices. And the other thing that was a lot of fun was in our offices at Amblin, if you would pull into the parking area years ago, there was a wishing well, and if you were to look down the wishing well, you'd actually see Bruce looking up at you. And I always thought I always got a kick out of that. But that's the weather vane, and what that does is that once the foot pegs are in, that completes this mast for the most part. And that is a really complicated piece of design that I will be finished with, except for staining it and doing all the other things that I'm going to be doing with it. So to finish this, which I will do today, I will get some of the basics on it. As I said, get some of the things ready to rig, which I will do, and the mast will be pretty good to go, and I'm thrilled with that. I have to say a big thank you to my dear friend Wayne Green at Welder Wayne. What a gentleman! He sent me an amazing care package, and part of that care package was all kinds of rigging. And not only rigging, but look at these mahogany pieces of mahogany, which are just extraordinary. And you got to see this. I mean, look at this. It's wafer thin. It's 0.8 mil by 100 mil. And he sent me 2 panels. And I'm so grateful for him for doing that. I'm going to use them somehow. I'm not sure how yet. Now, here's some breaking news for you, and I know Wayne will see this and go, what? I am not going to use wood inside the cabin. I'm not going to do it. And I will tell you why. Because Wayne did. And he got there before me. And so what I feel like I've got to do is try something a little different. Now, if you were to attack any resin kit, you would paint it. You could augment it, but for the most part you would paint it. So I'm going to use paint, and I'm going to do everything I can to create that wood effect with paint, and I want to see what happens. I'm going to really bust my backside to make sure it looks beautiful, but I'm going to use paint. Same with the banquette, the seat. Now I have trimmed it to accurize it to the film, because as Wayne brilliantly noticed and pointed out, the side that faces the second part of the interior of the cabin, which was 2 louver doors that go to an inside service area / engine compartment / you know, keep everything you're not using down there kind of thing. And so that wall did not have a banquette on it. It was blank. So we're going to obviously not do that. But I think I might use some of this wood actually out on top of the deck, in front of the boat, where all of the barrels sit. I think I'm might use it in there. And I may use a little bit of it up on the flying bridge. Yes, I'm learning my lingo. Flying bridge, thanks to some of my awesome subscribers who let me know that it's either called a fly bridge or a flying bridge. I kept calling it the crow's nest. No, that's much higher up. So I really apologize for bastardizing. I'm not a seaman in any way, so but I should be learning the vocabulary, and I promise you I'm going to get better at it. So the flybridge, I may use this up on the flybridge. Don't know, haven't decided. But the other thing he did was, which was just amazing, he sent me, and you know, he's already put his on his boat, by the way, but he sent me these portholes. I mean, my God, let me show you. Look at this. Look at these, and they've got glass in them. I mean, come on. How incredible is that? And I'm just absolutely in love with those. So I'm going to be using those. What a gentleman. A big thank you for him to do that, because that was just so special. And it saved me an awful lot of time and trouble. Now, there is one of the portholes that is covered up by the sides of the boat. And we both agree that it's probably too difficult to drill out. I don't know. I'm going to think about it, because to not get a porthole in that would probably be shameful. He's also sent me some playing cards, which are a little they're scaled up a little too large, I think. What do you think? I don't know. I suspect this is good old Mrs. World of Wayne who's done this and found us playing cards. But I think that, you know, at the end of the day, they could potentially be just a hair too big, I think. I'm not sure. But we'll take a look at that when we get there. And the only other thing I wanted to show you, because why not, is I found some beer cans. I did. I found some beer cans, and they're the correct scale. So here are the beer cans. Look at this. I've got beer cans. Let me get my fat head out of the way. So I got a bunch of those. Now none of them are crushed, so I have to figure out that. But of course the question is that the part of the scene that we're actually doing? I don't know. But there you go. Oh, there is one other thing I wanted to share with you, because it's a lot of fun. Check this out. Look at this. Look at this. This is Quint. This is Quint. So let me show you. Oh, sorry about that. Let me show you on the other hand. Look. Now, interestingly enough, he came with beer cans, the baseball bat, and two guns. Right? Sadly, it's the wrong scale. Wrong scale. But I have to tell you, you know, it's all about faces. Bill Wieger's Quint face is extraordinary, and I think I shared that with you in my opening remarks about the build and the boat. Check out that sculpt of that face. He is, I mean, he's just a true genius. But I just love how much stuff. I just love how much stuff is on the map, is on the market. And bang, there it goes. But anyway, I got a huge kick out of it. I think I've been going on long enough for this update. So this is the Mast update. Now, I do think it's important to show you this in chunks and segments, and you know, it's taking hours and hours and hours of time. And I was up in Oregon, my home up in Oregon, so I did not get a chance to work on this for a couple of weeks. I was working on my Victory, which in and of itself is hours and hours and hours of just trying to put the hull together. But anyway, I'm just really enjoying working with wood, and all these details are just going to make such a difference to this build. So I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to plow on here, and I'm going to try to have another update for you next week. I know it's sort of, we're pushing up against Christmas, but I am going to just sort of keep plowing along as long as I'm in town, and just try to get these updates out a little faster than I have. So I apologize for that. But after the mast is complete, I'm going to probably start focusing on the interior of the cabin. I have not primed the boat yet, because I haven't decided what primer I'm going to use, because it's going to make a huge difference if I'm going to start scratching, chipping at paint, or am I going to just use paint as an effect to look like it's peeled. The one thing I will say, by the way, and I know, Wayne, you're going to watch this, so this is a great gimmick. Tamiya paints, they gum up very quickly. That, it's an acrylic paint. Well, that's going to help us, not hurt us with this build, because if you look at the ORCA production stills, and we've got thousands of frame grabs now between the two of us, you can see where paint has chipped, it hasn't been sanded, and it was painted over and painted over. And you can get that effect quite nicely with these Tamiyas when they start to gum over, because if you brush it on and you keep brushing over that area, it will create that effect, no trouble at all. So I'm pretty excited about that. It was a great little discovery. And then the only other thing is a big thank you to my dear friend Jeff Fink, who has been consulting with me on some of the decals and stuff like that. I know that Wayne's got the awesome Ian Campbell over in the UK, but just in terms of efficiency and my ability to sort of work with Jeff through email, he's been able to start emailing me some things, including the decal for the first aid kit and the barometer, and I've also now got my decals for my oxygen tanks and some other really fun stuff. So we'll be going into a lot more of the detail, and as we go along and as I go on the build of just exactly what details I'm working on and finessing and trying to source or build. So I think the next episode will be in the interior cabin, and we'll be really starting to take a look at that. And I'll definitely have a coat of primer on the boat. So it's definitely starting to come along. It is so exciting. I know I sound ridiculous, but I'm just having so much fun with this build, because first of all, it's an iconic film, and second of all, it's a subject matter that you're just building part of a film, and I don't know, I will never get bored with this sort of thing. Although I will tell you, I am longing for some sprue, and so I definitely think in the new year, coming up very quickly, I'll be diving into that. I know I've had a couple of requests to build some things from Sequest, and I do have those kits in my stash. So it might be fun to do that going into next year, amongst some other things that I'm thinking about building. But anyway, that's all sort of random and has nothing to do with this update. But here we are. I am on the mast of the ORCA, a kit by Bill Wieger. It is a challenge build I'm doing with my dear friend Wayne Green over at World of Wayne. Please check out his channel, and as always, I wish everybody, please be safe, be well, build something, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody.